What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about Americans failing simple, basic questions about Canada. Now, I find myself a little bit torn on this particular topic because I think over the course of this video, I'm gonna find myself sympathizing a bit with my fellow Americans and their struggles to answer the most basic of Canadian questions about Canadian history and Canadian culture. But at the same time, I also think it's honestly embarrassing and a travesty that Americans in general are so darn ignorant of Canadian knowledge of what's going on in Canada, the geography of Canada, the history of Canada. Americans really do not know so much about Canada, and I'm talking about basic stuff. So a little part of me has lost any sympathy I have for Americans' glaring hole in their Canadian knowledge, but also at the same time, again, I was one of those Americans not too long ago, and I have noticed on my little journey learning about Canadian culture that Canadians are actually quite knowledgeable about the United States, whereas Americans are not knowledgeable at all about Canada. So really that kind of is the nail in the coffin where there really is no excuse. Canadians know quite a bit about America, and Americans don't really seem to care about learning anything about countries outside of the United States. So I'm going to feel a little bit of pity and sympathy, while at the same time a little bit of vengefulness and judgment upon my fellow Americans here. And, you know, maybe there will be questions here I don't even know the answer to. I'm very curious, but let us begin with this first video. Americans answer basic questions about Canada.
Is Canadian a language?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, this is not a good start. This is not good. This is not good. Is Canadian a language? I don't think I ever thought that. Like, at no point did I ever think that. I can at least say that much. That is an exceptional level of not knowing what the heck is going on in Canada. Americans answer basic questions about Canada. Okay. Here we go.
I dated a girl from Montreal for a year and a half. I love Canada.
All right, I've been there twice.
What is the capital of Canada?
I only know, like,
Americans just answer the question by laughing. Just like, haha, I don't know. And like, that's all you can do. There was a time I distinctly know where this question would have absolutely stumped me. No question. No question at all. Because I think I would have answered Toronto or Vancouver or something, or Montreal. For some reason, Ottawa, like, and I used to get that confused with Ontario. They sound similar, not really, but to me, to a simple American, they do. And I am not at all going to be surprised if no one gets this.
like 3 cities in Canada, so I'm gonna just say them. Montreal.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Canada's capital,
Oh, no.
Ontario is a whole place.
Capital, like,
Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah. Here's the sympathy coming out of me. They're answering this exactly like I would have. I don't know. I kind of blame our American educational system. I really do. I refuse to take any personal responsibility for this in classic American fashion. Because the capital of Canada, Ottawa, and lots of other Canadian cities and geography was not hammered home in our little American geography classes growing up. And as an adult, that really baffles me quite a bit to this day.
the capital of Canada.
Let's go with Toronto, where my Blue Jays at.
Yeah.
It's either Toronto, Quebec, or there's something with Victoria in it.
Oh, man. Yeah, I expect a lot of Torontos out of Americans. Probably the most common answer.
Ottawa's
Ottawa.
a city?
Who is the president of Canada?
This guy's just laughing at every question. President of Canada. President? This is a trick question. There's a prime minister, no president. Okay, so this is like a trick question.
Of Canada.
He's just laughing.
I don't think I've ever heard of the president of Canada.
Poutine.
But I bet he's bald. Or like a stern lady.
They don't have a president. They got a prime minister, right?
Thank you.
They got all that French influence. Once you get Europe in your system, all you're gonna do is have prime ministers.
Oh my gosh. Okay, interesting, interesting analyses there by the Americans. A couple of them knew it was prime minister.
Stephen Harper.
Stephen Hopper.
Okay, this video must be kind of old then.
Harper.
Harper. Stephen Harper.
I actually have not heard of Stephen Harper either.
Stephen Harper.
Oh, hold on, we're getting a pop-up. What is Canada's population? What is Canada's population? This is a bit specific. Man, I don't expect them to do good on this one either. I really don't. I didn't know this one off the top of my head for the longest time. For a while, it was like 35 million Canadians. Now I know it's increased recently. It's more like 38 million Canadians or 40 million Canadians, if I'm not mistaken, up to date here in 2023. I
was
think.
told that there wasn't going to be math in this.
100 million people.
Under a
Wow.
million people.
Under a million. Wait, one of them said 100 million, and one of them said under 1 million. That's all you got to see right there. Like, Americans have no clue. Like, literally no clue.
30 million?
I feel like
Oh, except this guy. Except this guy, who immediately proves me wrong.
30 million?
Okay.
nobody lives there. I feel like I've visited and seen 30 people.
Okay, he's trolling. He's trolling. 35.5, I think that's like 38 now. Or 40. Yeah. That's okay, and these Americans are trolling a bit. Oh my gosh.
They're a tenth the size of America.
Canada's
Yeah.
pretty big, but just because it's pretty big doesn't mean that it has people everywhere, because it's kind of cold. Drake doesn't even...
What about Drake? Yeah, that confuses a lot of Americans. Just how massive Canada is. So, logically our brains are like, I don't know, it looks bigger than the United States, so more than 300 million people, I guess. And it's like, no, like 1/10 of that. It is not as intuitive as you would think, coming from non-Canadians. That's like the train of thought is to be like, oh, Canada's big. Must be a lot of people.
Drake doesn't even live there, so that says a lot.
What? Wait, what? What does that have to do with anything? What does that even mean? I'm sure he lives there some of the time. I don't know. Name a Canadian celebrity, okay? I would imagine most Americans can name a Canadian celebrity. Like at least Ryan Reynolds or something? Like a Canadian celebrity like Colin Mockery? Or so like someone who's like real Canadian? Not Justin Bieber.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling, that's the one I knew.
Why is Ryan Gosling the de facto American's Canadian? How did that happen? Somewhere along the line that happened. It's what we all think of.
That's the one that I should have remembered because he's like perfect.
What is Canada's national animal? Oh my goodness, this one. I remember back when I did the Canadian test, knowledge test. This blew my mind, learning what Canada's national animal was. Because at no point in my entire life, up until a couple months ago, did I ever once associate beavers with Canada. I would have said, oh, the capital, the national animal, the capital of Canada is a moose. No, the national animal would be a moose or something like that. You know, the thing that Americans associate with Canada, the one animal we think of the most. So beaver, I never knew that. So I don't expect any of these Americans to know it.
Bear.
What lives in Canada? A whale?
Badger. It's gotta be a bee.
A bear. No, a moose. Bear moose.
Beaver.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was so close. He was like badger, and I was like, so close. Wow, you actually got beaver. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I knew it was a bee and it was a mammal.
Okay. Describe the Canadian flag. A leaf is what most Americans would say. I would say a maple leaf. Red.
It's a red maple leaf.
Yeah.
No, it's a white maple leaf on red, or is it red?
Oh.
I think I'm thinking of Japan. I do care about Canada. I'm from Wisconsin, although I'm very proud that Wisconsin doesn't touch Canada. People think Wisconsin does touch Canada, but Minnesota's our little shield, and Michigan's our little hat. So.
Okay. Okay. That doesn't surprise me either. That a lot of Americans would be like, oh, I know that it's red and white, but is the leaf white or red? And honestly, for an American, that's honestly not that bad of an answer comparatively to what some other people would probably have no idea. Well, I shouldn't say that because Canada's flag is so iconic. It's probably one of the few things Americans actually do properly know about Canada is the flag. Actually. Yeah, I take that back. That's actually probably one of the few things because it's such a unique, fun design that Americans actually pay attention to it, you know? All right, and here, to finish this off, we have Americans struggle answering Canadian trivia. Much like the first video, all right, let's just get to it.
There's a famous Canadian dish that has French fries, gravy, and cheese curds.
Oh, yeah.
What is it called?
Oh, yeah.
Toonie.
Toonie? What is it? Toonie? Like the currency? Like loony and a toonie? What is he talking about? I mean, that was a Hail Mary guess, if ever there was one. I don't know when on earth I learned about poutine, actually. It's all a blur to me now, huh?
Okay, Narcissi's in Buffalo, New York, asking Americans Canadian trivia. Let's go. What is
boy.
a toonie?
I don't know.
Yeah, Americans don't know this one. I never knew this one growing up. Like, I had to literally go out of my way and learn about toonies and loonies and toonies and all this rhyming stuff, and Americans do not know this one.
That Canadian money, I know, right? That's the loony, right?
What? Wait. I guess did they say we're in New York State? Which is like, you know, at least getting up there towards Canada. But honestly, the fact that she even brought up money shocks me. Because I can guarantee you, like, absolutely nobody I know would ever know what a toonie is. Ever.
So there is a loony, and there's also a toonie. So if you were to guess what a toonie is, what do you think it would be?
Canadian change?
Yes.
Okay.
How much? How much?
2.
50 cents?
No, close. A little bit more.
75?
No.
$1.
$2.
$2, okay.
Okay.
Do you know what a toonie is?
No.
No way.
If you had to guess what a toonie is, what do you think it would be?
Toonie, like, I guess a car.
That's the $2 coin.
Nice, perfect.
All right. There's no way. Like, these Americans actually know what a toonie is, and I am absolutely 100% convinced it is because of their proximity to Canada. Because, no, Americans do not. This is like a buy. This is making me look bad. No, Americans don't know what this is. This is outlier. No.
Can you name 3 Canadian singers?
Oh.
No.
Celine Dion, Drake, and Justin Bieber. I'm gonna cop out. Avril Lavigne, I think.
I could name a Canadian rapper, Drake.
Okay.
I think Drake is Canadian, right?
Yeah, everyone's gonna say Drake and Justin Bieber. Oh.
That's all I know, to be honest.
Justin Bieber, Drake.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's the third one that everyone has trouble with. What's a third Canadian singer?
Ooh. I don't know a third. I just know those 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. My heart will go on.
Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston.
Celine Dion.
Oh, that's okay. I actually didn't know Celine Dion was Canadian for most of my life as well. That was very random to me.
What are you talking about?
Are you a Beefs fan?
Oh, by him?
Are you a Biebs fan?
Not really.
Are you a Drake fan?
No.
Do you like any Canadian?
Guess not.
Fair. Sad. A little sad. There's a famous Canadian dish that has French fries, gravy, and cheese curds.
Wait, poutine is Canada's national dish? I don't think I quite appreciated that fact. Like, I know about poutine. I've learned a bit about the poutine, if you will. But I didn't know it was, like, officially Canada's national dish. That's interesting. Okay, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I do associate it with Canadian food, but the official national dish, wow.
What is it called?
Toonie.
Okay, now I get it.
Toonie? Dish.
I don't know.
Poutine.
Yeah!
How did that woman know what a toonie was, but not know what poutine is? That I don't know what's going on.
Have you tried a poutine before?
Yes, but it was in the U.S., so probably wasn't as good.
What do you think of the poutine?
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is the
Yeah, that poutine is like should be so much more prevalent in the United States. I have never ran into a place in the US where you could buy poutine, actually. What is the name of Canada's Prime Minister? I would imagine most Americans, oh, I gotta be careful with this one. Most Americans would probably know this, because this is an important thing to know. But at the same time, that's a good reason for me to believe Americans don't know it.
name of Canada's Prime Minister?
Oh.
Zach.
Yeah, I feel like maybe younger Americans won't know this, and older Americans will, maybe? Whereas it's funny, because, like, I'm sure every Canadian knows who the current president of the United States is. But there's so many Americans who, like, don't know who the Prime Minister of Canada is. It's crazy. It's madness.
I don't know this one.
What's the name of Canada's Prime Minister?
No clue.
Okay.
No idea.
If you were to guess.
No!
Not even a guess.
Justin Trudeau.
Thank you.
Amazing. You're doing awesome. What
you.
is the capital of Canada?
Oh, the capital of Canada question. I'm still gonna say most Americans don't know this. Maybe she will, because she knew what a toonie was, so anything's possible. Most would say Toronto, I think.
Quebec.
Quebec?
No.
A lot are saying Quebec, which is, I never even thought of that as an answer. Like, not even Quebec City, but Quebec, like a province.
Try again.
Not Toronto.
It's not Toronto. Toronto's the capital of Ontario, but what's the capital of Canada?
Montreal? Not Edmonton.
Not Edmonton. It's Ottawa.
Yeah.
Ottawa.
Ottawa.
What is Canada's famous coffee chain?
Oh, interesting. I don't think most Americans know this either. So I guess in this video, I think they're asking questions that most Americans, like, I even don't think most Americans would know any of this stuff. Some is unreasonable. I think this question is like, okay, I think it's acceptable if Americans don't know what Tim Hortons is. I think that's normal and doesn't mean you're ignorant. If you don't know the Prime Minister or the capital, that's kind of like, what are we doing with our lives? But this one's like, I don't expect Americans to know Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons.
Hey.
I know
There
that
you
one.
go.
Do you drink Tim Hortons?
Not no more, no.
Wait, he has one?
Tim Hortons.
Hey.
I know that one.
Do you drink Tim Hortons?
Oh, he knows that one.
Not no more, no.
No, not no more. What happened?
I used to work there. I don't want to work there no more.
How did they find an American who worked at Tim Hortons? Like, they are finding the most outlier Americans possible to ask these questions to.
Tim Hortons versus Dunkin' Donuts.
Ooh.
Tim Hortons.
Really?
Wait, there must be Tim Hortons in New York, like wherever they are, upstate New York. Because Tim Hortons doesn't even exist hardly in the United States. I think in some really northern parts of the United States. So these Americans can actually answer this question because they have the ability to have had both Dunkin' Donuts and Tim Hortons. Apparently Tim Hortons is better. They answered immediately.
Ah.
I don't like Dunkin' Donuts.
Tim Hortons 100%.
Really?
Yeah. every single time I've gotten Dunkin', there's been like coffee grounds in the coffee. So.
Oh wait, is it because they like Tim Hortons, or is it because Dunkin' Donuts is so bad?
Creek water.
Okay, how many provinces does Canada have?
Ooh. I don't think they're gonna get this.
Like 6?
No.
Okay, well, you're close because we have 10 provinces and 3 territories.
Yeah, that would have even fooled me. I would have said 13. Kind of like provinces and territories. But that would have actually fooled me as well. I probably would have said 13. What is Canada's national sport? Gosh. Well, technically it's lacrosse, I think. Even though every ounce of my being is screaming that it should be hockey.
Okay, last question. What is Canada's national sport?
Hockey?
Perfect!
Okay,
Amazing!
Okay, maybe hockey is like, is it the national winter sport? I know lacrosse is maybe the other national sport, like the warm weather sport, or... Anyway, I would, every ounce of me would say hockey.
She's more Canadian than she thinks. You know what? Our American neighbors across the border didn't do too bad when it came to Canadian trivia.
Okay, so was she interviewing Americans that are like just by the Canadian border? Is that why some of them did really, really unexpectedly good and knew what Tim Hortons was? Because if this was questions asked to random Americans in freaking Ohio or something, like the middle of Nevada, this would have probably been way funnier and way, way more struggling.
Okay, to my fellow Canadians, do you think you would be able to answer all the questions? Let us know in the comments.
Okay. Yeah, I would expect most Canadians to answer all those easily. But anyway, I enjoyed this. That video was by Narcity, which I liked. And the first video was by BuzzFeed Video, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed, the Americans putting themselves out there. That's one thing I do like about American culture. We are unabashedly okay with looking stupid for entertainment. So I'm the perfect case study for that, huh? So I enjoyed this quite a bit. I mean, it was kind of right in line with what I thought. Americans really, on average, don't know stuff about Canada. That's for sure. I was one of them, so I sympathize, and I wish better for us Americans, and that our knowledge can maybe get a little better somehow. I don't know how that's going to change, but we certainly could do better in these areas. But this was entertaining nonetheless. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and Canadian culture and stuff about Canada I've never learned or seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.